Hello, America and the world. Welcome to another program of Life After Lockup. This is a program that is designed to show the public another side of the criminal justice system. If you have a story or you know someone that has a story, you can contact us at any time on lifecommunities@bailsouth.net, or you can call phone number 270-575-3823. Every now and then we have a program with an individual that has been wrongfully convicted. And this is such a program that we have today. A man that has spent 11 years in prison and 16 years on parole before being exonerated. And we're going to hear his story today. We're going to welcome to Life After Lockup, Michael von Allmen. God bless you.
Hi.
God bless you. Good day. Did I say their last name right?
Yes, you said it perfect.
Good deal, good deal. Listen, we're going to just kind of start because people are interested, I'm interested in knowing your particular story. And yours is a story basically of misidentification. And can you kind of start, give us a little information of how you ended up getting accused or getting locked up?
Well, it started for me on a day when I came home from work to find my neighbor meeting me outside and asking why the police were looking for me. And the police didn't have a reason to be looking for me that I was aware of, so I expressed my appreciation for his sharing that with me, and I went on in and got cleaned up because I just got home from work. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, I hadn't done anything to be afraid of talking to the police about. So I went straight over to the police department and asked them,
okay,
hey, why are you knocking on my door?
Okay.
And by the time I had gotten over there, it was later in the evening, and all the police were out on the beat, and there was only a reception officer in the reception area. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't an actual cop, it was a rental officer, mm-hmm. Or a security guard. Mm-hmm. And of course he asked, first thing was, did you have a warrant on me? Mm-hmm. Did you have a warrant on you? And I said, well, no, and I shouldn't have had a warrant on me. And he said, well, the only thing he could recommend was to call the 3rd District in the morning, call the police department in the morning and ask somebody on during business hours. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did. I took off, and next morning went on to work and went on out, called the police, and they told me over the telephone they had 3 felony warrants on me for rape, robbery, and sodomy.
Good God Almighty.
Well, that's exactly what I said. I said, I don't know what is going on, but let me go talk to a lawyer and I'll be in and we'll straighten this out. It's got to be a mistake.
Right.
So, of course, it was business time. The lawyer's in court like he should be, and it was that afternoon before I got to the attorney who advised me to go somewhere to find someone who could put up a big bond and then go over to the police station, turn myself in. Well, against his advice, I went straight home.
Okay.
Went straight home where first call was to my father, and he was, of course, at work, and I called my mother, and she thought I was pulling her leg. Mm. I said, what do you want, boy? Groceries or money? Right. I said, no, Mom, I'm serious. They're about ready to arrest me for rape, robbery, and sodomy.
Wow.
And she wasn't having any part of it.
Right, I'm sure.
So, and it was at that point, the police pulled right up in front of my house, and I said, Mom, I gotta go. And I hung up and ran outside to meet the cops and said, hey, I know what you're here for, but give me some time to find somebody to put up a bond, and I'll be in, we'll straighten this out. They said, oh, you know something about this? I said, well, I know I'm getting arrested for rape, robbery, and sodomy.
Wow.
And they said, you want how much time? Get in this car.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so Yeah, from her perspective, it was pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous for me to ask for an
For
hour.
some
So
time, yeah.
I went in and was interrogated, and first thing they held up was this composite drawing of a sketch that looked identical to me.
Wow.
And the officer had asked him, said, "Well, where were you on this night?" And like I talked to, they had told me earlier in the day when the offense occurred, and so I had, by the time I was arrested, I had remembered.
Mm-hmm.
That was a Saturday night. I had gone to the cinemas with the movie with some girl, and after the movie, came home, and my brother was home from the Army, and typical night. And so I laid that out to them, and they said, "Well, that's pretty good for the night of the 10th, but we're actually talking about in the AM of that." So they weren't talking about Saturday night, they were talking about Friday night. And I had already spent the entire day trying to figure out Saturday night.
Right.
And yeah, so when they got to the Friday night part, I told them, I took all day trying to remember Saturday night.
Right.
Now Sunday, now you want to know Friday. I'm sorry, I can't say, and I'll wait until I talk to my lawyer about it. And that was the end of the interrogation. They booked me. I was fortunate enough to have gone to school with the people in pretrial, and they looked at me like, "Mike, what the heck is this about?"
Right.
And so I don't have a clue, but is there anything you can do to get me out? They called the judges like they do to get bonds set. And I had a relatively small bond, a $2,000 bond for pretty serious offenses.
Yeah.
And was fortunate enough to make bond right away. So got out on bond right away. By that time, my friends had remembered Friday night. I really didn't have to remember Friday night. It was all together, and from that moment on, it was, well, let's go to trial and show them. That's all we could do.
Right.
So it was about a year and a half later, a little less than that, but I'd gone to trial, and the jury found it, in spite of all of the witnesses that I had, believed the victim.
Wow.
and her assault, and convicted me.
So what was the victim there? The victim was still pretty serious about pointing you out as the person?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you just don't know about how trials actually occur. But there's a level of emphasis added.
Right.
That the presentation by the attorneys can win or lose a case. And in this case, I believe it was a prosecutor's presentation of the case was able to persuade a jury over five or six different, 4 actual people of where I was, myself, and then there was the owner of the vehicle that they assumed I had used his car to commit the crime in, my neighbor's car.
Right.
And he just testified that no, he never drove my car.
Right.
So
basically, you had all the witnesses in your favor, the car testimony in your favor. Everything that you presented was basically in your favor, but she was still adamant about you being the guy.
Yes.
Now, did they use any of the composite drawings and the?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that was certainly part of it.
Wow. So the actual person, they didn't have a picture of him at first, right?
No.
But they had the composite drawing.
Right.
And the
yeah.
composite drawing and your particular mugshot or whatever basically looked alike.
Oh, yes.
And she was pretty convinced.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would, I don't know for sure, but even after I've been exonerated, this other guy's come up, his history's come up. As far as I know, she's still
Feels like
fully believing I'm the guy that committed her.
Wow. So did you go to prison right then? Once they found you? How much time did they actually give you?
The jury gave me 45 years, and that was 10 years for the robbery, 15 years for the rape, and 20 years for the sodomy.
Gee whiz.
Now, by the time final sentencing come around, the judge, on his own accord, reduced, and I guess because of my lack of felonious history,
Right.
I don't know what brought him to that point, but on his own accord, he combined the two sexual assault cases to ran them concurrent for a 20-year sentence, and then ran it consecutive with the 10-year robbery sentence to make a total of 30 years.
Okay, so you got a total of 30 years in prison. Now, when was this? What year was this?
This was in 1981 is when the crime occurred. And it was January of 1983 when the conviction occurred.
Wow.
When the incarceration started.
So you get found guilty of all of this, you knowing that you're innocent, the other people around you knowing that you're innocent because they got alibis, they know where you were.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what kind of state of mind, I mean, if you can remember, what kind of state of mind were you in? Like as a dream or something? Or
it's totally a surreal experience. You just can't believe it's happening, and no one else can as well. It's life altering, absolutely.
I'm sure. And you go not really knowing what to expect in prison, but you were there. How knowing that you're innocent, and I don't even know if this question is going to make any sense. Knowing that you're innocent, how do you function in the jungle?
Well, certainly what I come away from the experience with is knowing that survival is an inner part of us that we don't know it's there until it's called upon to react or to kick into its its survival mode. And the process of adjustment begins and survival kicks in.
Wow,
you just do what you got to do
to survive. Did you expect to do all of that time, or did you?
Oh, no way. I mean, there was a part of that yard I could walk through every day. Every time I walked through, and it was just like, is this real?
Right.
It's just, you look around and is all of this, is this really what's going on in my world? Wow. But it's just the way it is. And you learn to adapt to the political climate. There's so much that goes on that by the time that I did make parole, that the parole board said, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt only because you've maintained the same story and you have support from law enforcement as well on your story. So,
but this was 11 years later.
Yes, and my fourth meeting with the parole board. After being told, we don't like the way you look on paper. Get out there and another 3 years and get something on paper for us.
What do you mean by that?
Document your program involvement. Show that you've done some reform with yourself. I had been involved in the college program and different programs, but as part of my innocence attitude, why document anything? I'm Mike von Allmen, and I'm okay with that, you know. So, but no, when you are deemed by the court to be a menace to society, no, you better document your behavior, you know.
Right. Basically, what they were asking you to do is show that you are transformed some kind of way, that you're taking some type of courses to alter you from being that rapist and whatever.
Yes.
And like you said, if you were innocent.
Yes, it wasn't an issue. You know. So, but yeah, adjusted it to that as well. And by the time I came up for that next time, you know, the paper was this thick that time. But during those 3 years, another high-profile violent sexual assault occurred, and it didn't matter being a sex offender. It didn't matter what that paperwork looked like. If this sex offense treatment program didn't say you're okay, then you're not going anywhere. We're sorry.
Wow.
So that occurred, and that was just sign of the times. You know, it was just the way it was. And so and that was another 3-year deferment there. When the next 3 years came up, and they said, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. That was the shocker, because I looked for, you know, what the next excuse was, we're sorry, but, you know, take it up your issues with the courts, not with us. Until they say differently, you know, you're going to be treated as a sex offender.
Wow. So they after 11 years,
yes,
they finally let you go. But they put you but you were still on paper.
Absolutely, yes. I went straight from the prison to the parole office, where I got my parole officer and put under the intensive supervision program, which meant that you were in the house at 10 o'clock each night, from 10 at night until 6 in the morning, I think was the hours. And of course, no drugs or alcohol. Being a sex offender, no adult entertainment, no contact with the victim or any of her family. There was about 5 or 6 different conditions that not leaving Jefferson County, of course. And do that, and you'll move to the next level if you satisfy all the
criteria of Now, emotionally, because this is like, okay, now I'm speaking for me. I was guilty. I did 3 years for armed robbery, and I was on parole for probably about 5 years maybe. I was pretty upset with the system. I was guilty. I was upset. I mean, I know in that 11 years and even getting out, how did you feel getting out? Like, I'm finally free, yay, I'm out. Let me go eat, drink, and be merry.
Initially, when I got convicted, the first thing I heard was my mother's words. God is calling you for a reason, son.
Okay.
So, after the jury says guilty, then it's, Mom, what were you saying?
Right. So, where's God in all this?
Yeah. So, in jail, there was the religious transformation. It was the acceptance of Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and yes, I'm following you, whatever you say.
Okay.
So at that point, I looked for whatever reason in the world there could be. You know, God is it's all in your hands. And had reached a level of my spirituality that it didn't matter where I was. As long as I was serving the Lord, it was fine.
Okay. Okay.
That was first month.
Okay.
I was able to say that the first month.
Okay.
I probably went about a year like that until it starts to fade, and then finally I read this book by this, I think it's a Jewish rabbi, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Mm-hmm. And because at the time I'm thinking, God's either punished me, or God's punished me, He's calling me, whatever it is. It liberated me from chasing the idea that God, this has happened to me for something special.
Okay.
And it got me to the point to where bad things occur indiscriminately, at random, anywhere. And this is the hand that you were dealt.
Gee whiz.
This is the hand I was dealt. Mm. And got to the point in that serenity prayer where God grant me the serenity. I was at the point where I knew the wisdom, had the wisdom of the two, what to beat my fist against and what to let go. And I got to the point where this courts and this system was something that was out of my control.
Right.
And accept it, do the best you can short of that, and hope for the best.
Wow. Wow.
And so when the best came, then it was again my turn to. The ball was in my court on the parole side. So, and that's all I needed was the opportunity to show that I could be a good citizen.
Good deal. Now listen, when did you start? Because you were on parole for 16 years. Evidently, you hadn't been exonerated yet. If you were on parole for 16 years, right?
Right. Yeah.
So what started the turn? Did you kind of like leave it alone and say, well, I'm out now, and let me just go on with my life?
Initially, when I got out, I contacted a newspaper reporter that had been involved in my case earlier on, and asked if he could do anything to find some of the DNA evidence. I'm still looking to find some physical evidence, DNA-wise, to prove my innocence. He was involved in another case and said he'd get to me when he could. So that was the big effort that I made. That was knowing the difference, having the wisdom to know the difference between two. I reached the point was, do I pursue this? And I've already spent 12, 13 years trying to get it done. Or do I start the business of living? And that's chose living and let that become a bad memory, roll on with my life.
Wow.
Got into plumbing and became successful there.
Good deal for that. But then, how did it all come about that brought it back up to where now it's possible that you could be innocent?
Never gave up on the idea of being able to pursue a DNA thing, and the goal was to someday get an investigator and try to get into the state police crime lab to where I could locate and see if there was evidence there. Short of that, I had to accept my situation, but still never gave up hope that one day I'd find some DNA evidence. One morning I opened up the newspaper and there's a story about the Kentucky Innocence Project getting money to investigate wrongful convictions. I said, wow.
Wow.
If there's the people that can get into the state crime lab, that's them.
Wow.
And yes, hello.
Oh, wow.
So, and that started part of the just an incredible journey.
Wow. So basically, and I guess that's how a lot of these guys have been exonerated through the Innocent Project, and my hat's off to them because they have done an awesome job with helping getting people lives back on track or getting them proven innocent or whatever. So you contacted them, and they started the ball rolling.
They started the ball rolling, and this is the story. I get convicted. I go down, and I'm down at the prison. My mother's down there visiting me. When one of the neighborhood girls comes down and sees my mother in the visiting room, says, "Wow, Millie, what are you doing down here?" And she says, "Well, Mike got a rape charge, and I'm down here seeing him." She said, "What? Mike got a rape charge? Well, I don't believe that, but okay, good to see you." And that was it. As it turns out, she was married to the perpetrator, the actual perpetrator in my rape case. This guy had just gotten killed, and she was liberated from this guy and able to see other people, and she went to visit some friend of hers in prison. And just had this chance meeting, seeing my mother down there, and that planted a seed with her.
Wow, with your mother, with
this girl.
With the girl. Okay.
Yes.
But listen, we're gonna stop right there because I think they're gonna allow us again to hopefully do a part 2 of this. But our time is about up, and I just wanna. This is a fascinating story, and I'm just blown away. And I think we probably got 30 seconds now, but I just want to say thank you. Audience, for listening, and join us again for the next program of Life After Lockup. God bless you, and you have a marvelous day.